Hi everyone and welcome back to this channel. This will be the second last video of this entire Introduction to Python series, and I really hope you've enjoyed what you've learned so far. And as you can see from the title of this video, we are going to be learning about loops and iterations. So what is a loop and what is an iteration? So I'll tell you that, but before that I'm just going to tell you that I don't use Jupyter notebooks anymore, but like I use CoCalc, which is very similar to Jupyter notebooks. So now, what is the difference between a loop and a iteration? So loop is the actual code. It's like the DNA of something. Like say for example, the DNA in me, that's a loop. Imagine that's a loop. And the iteration is basically what happens. So it's basically like the algorithmic part of a certain code. So I have some code and let's just try it out. So it starts with naming a variable n is equal to 5, and then while n is greater than 0, it will print, I'm pretty sure it's n, yeah, it's print n, and then do n is equal to n minus 1, and then removing the indent, print blast off. Now let's break this code down into what happens. So this is line 1. In line 1 we are creating a variable and assigning a value to it. In this case it's 5. Now while n is greater than 0. So while basically like when n is bigger than 0, it will print n, and then once that is done it will come over here and do n is equal to n minus 1. So now it's going to go down by 1. So now let's run this. There, 5 4 3 2 1, and then blast off. Now it could say 0, but 0 is not greater than 0, so it's 5 4 3 2 1, a perfect success. Now you might be also tempted to say that why can't you just do print 5, and then I'll just copy paste this. Now you might be tempted to say why can't we just do this? Well, my typing is pretty slow. Okay, in both cases we get the same thing. So as you can see, 5 4 3 2 1 blast off, 5 4 3 2 1 blast off, but I forgot to add the exclamation mark, which is pretty embarrassing. But as you can see, this code is a bit more, you might say, tricky to understand, and this code is a lot more simpler to understand. Basically it's just printing, but this code is extremely inefficient. Why? So if it's like the first 5 numbers, you can just do it by hand, it won't really matter. But imagine you go into the hundreds of thousands. Now while n is equal to say 100, let me run this. It completely gives this. But now we could also do that by hand. It's still doable by human hand, but it takes a lot more time. And Python can easily take up to big numbers. I've tried it with like a trillion or something last time I did it. Now it's, my computer is kind of lagging because I chose 100,000, and scrolling up will be an immense pain. So yeah. Now loops and iterations. Let's just do a few more examples of loops and iterations. Okay, now this will be about addition. Now say that we are creating a variable called sum. Sum is equal to 0. Apparently it's inbuilt function already, so We may need to change it, but now we are going to be using the for I in range, which is not in brackets 10, print before that. Let's just do something similar to what we did before, which was sum. That was n is equal to n minus 1. This is going to be sum is equal to sum plus 1. Now 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Now for I in range, this part may seem a bit confusing, but it's not. So let's look at this part. For I in range, I is the index, so it's basically like the number. So now in range like from 0 to 10 or 1 to 10, that's what range is. So once again, it's pretty easy. Now let's do, say, a few more examples. Now this one is a bit more confusing, and it's pretty long too, but it's just as simple to understand. So what you may think I'm saying is crazy, but understanding this is actually a bit more difficult than the other examples we have done, but at the same time it is easy to understand. So let's just take a look at this. My string is equal to, my string is equal to Python. I'm not going to tell you what this does. Let's just look at till the end. Okay, my string is equal to Python. Now x is equal to 0. That's another uh, variable. Now for I in my string, now indentation, I'll just scroll out a bit. Yeah, okay, there. For I in my string, x is equal to x plus 1. This is basically like the index here. Now print my string. Okay, this part is the most confusing one. At least when I started programming, it was the most confusing one. But some of you people who are smart and are probably watching my video right now may find it easy to understand. My string 0 to x. So it may seem really confusing, but trust me, it's not that confusing. Now let's just copy paste this, but in the opposite order, which is x minus 1 and x to 0. Now what this is, it takes in this and then it increases each value by 1. So like from p to py to pyt to pyth and then so on. But then we haven't done this part correctly yet. So why isn't it working? Try to think about it. Why do you think it's not working? I'll just end the video right here, and then I'll be starting another one. But until then, just try to think about it. Okay, so now if you have thought about this, it was a mistake to do something with this. So let me zoom in a bit. 110%, that's fine. Oh god, these numbers. Okay, so here we are reversing the order. So basically like x and x plus 1. So now they undo each other, but here these two undo each other too, but that's not what we want. From 0 to x and x to 0, that's basically like cancelling each other out as in algebra, but we don't want that. So to make sure it works correctly, we can use 0 to x, and there you go. Now it looks like a pyramid. Now the best thing about this is that you can do with anything, any string. You can use it with the longest word, and it may crash your PC, but let's just try it out. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I don't want it to be too big. Let me see if it can handle this. And there you go. It works perfectly fine. Now, new mono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. And this is 45 letters. And wow, that's huge. So as you see that it works perfectly, and we can do this with any string as long as it's not like maybe one letter or two letter. It can look pretty cool. So that's all I have to say for this video. Until then, thank you and have a nice day, and I'll meet you in the next video, which would be the last one. See you all.